Can you tell me what date it is today? Piece of cake, right? You just look at your smartphone and voila, you immediately know the date. But was it always this easy to tell the date? Did the ancient people even have the concept of a year that lasts 365 days? Yes and no. Mayan calendars had cycles that were close to what we call a year, but they also had other cycles that were longer or shorter. One of these cycles was 819 days long, and this is where the mystery begins. 819 days compared to what? When does this calendar begin, and when does it end? Scientists were asking themselves this question for decades. They discovered and deciphered the Mayan calendar during the 1940s. Recently, two American scientists, John Linden and Victoria Bricker, came forward with a solution to this mystery. So, what did they do differently from their predecessors? The duo deciphered the code by broadening their thinking. They expanded the calendar from 819 days to 16,380 days, or roughly 45 years. That's 20 times longer than the original cycle. And a pattern started to emerge. This was a major breakthrough because the Maya told the time in a complicated way. You can forget about the easy-to-read Arabic numerals we have today. These ancient people used glyphs. These are tiny images that represent characters, something like the icons on your desktop or universal symbols. When you see a little dot with 3 curved lines above it, you know there is a Wi-Fi network available. Just like that, the Mayan calendar used glyphs that represented animals or natural phenomena. For example, there were symbols for jaguar and an eagle. Each glyph marked one day, and 819 glyphs make a cycle. These cycles are repeated 4 times, resulting in a total of 819x4 glyphs. Let's call these 4 cycles blocks. The Mayas colored each block differently. Scientists thought these colors corresponded to the 4 cardinal directions. Red was east, white was north, the west was black, and finally, yellow marked south. It wasn't until the 1980s that researchers realized that this assumption was incorrect. Researchers determined that the colors were associated with the position of the sun in the sky. It turned out that the color yellow represented the highest point of the sun, which is called a zenith, and white was the lowest point called the nadir. It seems that the calendar showed just how good the ancient Mayas were at astronomy. Do you know what a synodic period is? Neither do I, but Mayan astronomers did. A synodic period is a time that passes before a stellar body does a full lap when you look from Earth. For example, in the case of the moon, this is the period between 2 full moons, and this period lasts roughly 30 days. And the Mayas were looking at the skies non-stop. They carefully noted the synodic periods of all planets, from Venus to Saturn. These ancient astronomers kept records of nearly all celestial bodies. But what does this have to do with their calendar? The American researchers' calculations revealed the link. Let's take the planet closest to the sun as an example, Mercury. Its synodic period is 117 days. Multiply that by 7 and you get which number? Exactly, 819. Coincidence? Definitely not, because synodic periods of other planets also neatly match the magical figure 819. But this is not visible from a single Mayan cycle. Scientists had to expand it 20 times to discover the pattern. The Maya actually used several different calendar systems concurrently, the most famous being the 𝐔𝐧𝐭𝐫𝐢𝐿 and the long count. The 𝐔𝐷 was a 365-day solar calendar with 18 months of 20 days each, plus a 5-day period considered to be unlucky. The 𝐀𝐨𝐿 was a 260-day calendar, and the long count was a linear count of days from a mythological starting point, starting from a date equivalent to August 11th, 3114 BC in the Gregorian calendar. This brings us to the year 2012. Can you remember that? Some people thought that the world would end on December 21st. That turned out to be a bust. We are alive and well now. But what started this false rumor? The Mayan calendar, of course. Misinterpretation of the long count calendar was the basis for a popular belief that a world end would take place on December 21st, 2012. This 2012 was simply the time when their cycle ended. It is known as Baktun, a unit in their long count system. This period is 144,000 days long. For the Mayas, 2012 was something like the 31st of December for us, simply the day that the calendar went to the next cycle. So there was no need to panic. Those New Year's Eve parties might be a bit wild, but the world doesn't end on January 1st. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more mind-blowing facts.